That is going to be done at a cost of 1.3 million. So altogether, it's going to cost this country 7.4 million. Now, the people who were managing the system for us, when they said, when the Charlotte Osei Commission proposed that they would have to overhaul it by refurbishing it in a much profound manner, the cost of the refurbishment, they told us, was going to be $15 million. Refurbishing the old system was going to be $15 million. A new one is going to be constructed. An enhanced one is going to be constructed at a cost of 6.1 million. Plus an additional recovery center at 1.3 million, totaling 7.4 million. Now, as I can say, this is huge savings for the country. And yet you have people not talking to this matter, going out there to castigate the commission. That is most unfortunate. So they spoke to this, and they spoke to the timetable. After the compilation of the register, they will have to do exhibition, they will have to do certification of the register, they will have to do transfer voting, and also allow for proxy voting and so on. Right? Now, we all do know that we are not in normal times. And so, even in spite of that, they've given us a roadmap and giving us timelines for performing which function. And they told us that the exhibition, for instance, after the registration is going to happen between the 11th September to 18th September, district officers who were to adjudicate on issues that may ensue from the registration, that is due to challenge and so on, would happen between the 22nd of July to 10th of August. And the registration itself is going to begin from 30th June to 6th of August. Then the receipt of nominations would happen on the 5th October to 9th October, and distribution of voter registers is going to happen between the production and distribution is going to happen between 14th of October to 22nd of October. All these things they've given us. And in addition, we allowed questions after their presentation to be asked. Members asked over 40 questions, and they took time to explain to us all the issues that we raised, including the costs of procurement of hardware, of software, the companies who had won the contracts and so on, including the fact also that the enhanced biometric registration devices that they are procuring is at a cost per unit of $3,423. One, it's costing this country $3,423. The old equipment, which is not as modernized as the ones that they are bringing, which is not as enhanced as the ones that they are bringing, which doesn't have the capacity of the ones that they are bringing, was priced at $5,270. The old one, $5,270. This new one is $3,423. And the price of refurbishing any of the broken down ones, the old ones, was costing this nation $3,000. $3,000. The BVRs, the biometric verification devices, the old one, which doesn't have the competence of this new one, was priced per unit at $917. This new one is going to cost us $336. Look at the tremendous savings that this commission is making to this country. And yet, people are bastardizing them, that they don't know what they are about. The issues were raised, and I want to now be specific about the issue of they trying to tap into the database because they are going to use passport as identification material, passport and the National Identification Authority card, right? That Ghana card. They are going to use these two cards. So the minority leader, it was who asked whether it would be possible to connect to the database of the Passport Office and the National Identification Authority, so that if anybody submitted any card, on the spur of the moment, they could authenticate the genuineness of a passport or a Ghana card. The response of the woman was that no, that one is not fixed into the machine that is being brought, because at the time of the procurement, the Identification Authority themselves had not supplied so much, and now they have. We are using it, but then we are requesting them to train our officers such that they will be able to determine and distinguish between a genuine ID card and a fake one. Equally so for passports. And on the basis of this, somebody makes the allegation that, oh, the commission is not ready. Since 1992, of course, the National Identification Authority card is a new one. A passport we have always used since 1992. When? Since 1992, 1995, 2012, 2016. Even in periods when we have engaged in limited registration. When? On which occasion has the Electoral Commission been in a position to link up directly to the database of the Passport Office to authenticate passports? So if anybody is raising this, and by this indicating that because they are not connecting to the database of the two outfits, they are not ready, it's palpably laughable. I don't think that it has any basis. So I really don't see the issue. In any event, we're also convinced and persuaded by what they indicated to us, that we thought, yes, we could go on with it. The minority leader, who himself had said earlier that an allocation of 329 million, which ought to have been given to the commission, which by December the finance ministry had not given them, and had insisted that we should ring fence the 329 million to be given to the Electoral Commission, because in his opinion, and the committee agreed, the allocated amount could not suffice the enterprise that they were charged to do for 2020. So the position of the committee was that the finance committee should release the 329 million, which had not been released for the procurement of the equipment in 2019, to the commission. The commission came to inform us that the finance minister had not, as of yet, given the money to the commission. And the position of the committee is that the finance ministry should release that amount to them. Indeed, this year, even though on paper about 701 million has been released to the commission for the performance of their functions, only 400 million has actually been received by the commission. So we then undertook to pressurize the finance ministry to release immediately, let them have the outstanding 300 million if we want them to commit and indeed be able to pursue this enterprise and have a very credible elections. Those amounts should be released to the commission as early as possible. And we insisted that the 329 million should as well be given to them. So for anybody to turn around to say that the commission is not ready, my goodness, I cannot understand this. In any event, after the delivery and presentation and questions have been asked, the position of the minority was that, well, in spite of what you have told us, our position, our official position, and we want to put it on record, and that's what they said. Our official position is that we are still against the re-registration. That was the concluding remarks of the minority leader. And he went on to say that in spite of that, they would invite the Electoral Commission to the Committee of the Whole to come and make the presentation. Whereupon I quickly asked him, if the commission, after being so convincing and persuasive, you are telling them that the position of your party is that you are officially against it, what purpose is the commission going to serve if we invite them to the Committee of the Whole? Only to have a second presentation for you to also repeat your position, that notwithstanding, we are against what you have done. or what you intend to do. Does it make sense? And does it make sense? So I thought that was, so I told the leader that the committee will consider this application and then determine whether or not it is useful to let them come to the committee of the whole. Ladies and gentlemen, this really is what happened. They told us that they're going to procure 8,000 biometric, the modernized biometric system to do the registration. And we are being told that the number is not enough. Since when have we had registration at all polling stations, all 33 polling stations? Since 1982. Since when? Because, of course, the registration equipment is quite expensive. So it is not possible to really serve all 33,000 polling stations at a given time. Indeed, when they appeared before us yesterday, we even said to them that in this COVID environment, the threshold for the polling stations now is 850. The Charlotte Osei Commission, when they appeared before us about 5 years ago, we determined that the number should be 750. It should not be beyond 750. They agreed. But when they went to the ground, they increased it by 100. So now the threshold is 850. So we are appealing to them that they should bring, in the COVID environment, they should bring the number down to 600. If they bring it down to 600, then it will increase the number of polling stations from 33,000 to between 36 and 37,000, right? And that then would also mean additional procurement of the verification devices. But for the registration, you know, the Afarijan's time, even then, they were zoning the country into compartments, usually 4 zones. They will finish with one and go to the next and go to the next before they go to the final one, usually the 4 zones. This time around, they are saying that they are not going to do that. But all polling stations in the entire country, 275, they are going to do the registration, except to say that they are going to do what they call clusters. So in any electoral area, will not go beyond 5. Don't forget that in the rural constituencies, some electoral areas are made up of just 1 polling station. Some of them 2, some of them 3. In fact, the average polling stations constituting 1 electoral area is about 3 in the country. But in the urban centers and the cities and metropolitan areas, you have many more. For instance, in my constituency, the average is 10. Some 9, some 10, some 11, right? That's what we have. So it is the reason why they say they're going to do clusters. What it would then mean is that in any electoral area, typically my backyard, for an electoral area, you have 5 polling stations clustered as one and begin to do that. And then the other one would then constitute the second cluster. So that is it. This is the first time we're having this in the country. They said they are going to do phasing by resorting to this clustering. It appears to me that maybe the minority leader didn't hear it well. That is why he stepped out to say that the electoral commission said they're going to phase out polling stations. How can they phase out polling stations? If you're phasing out polling stations, it means you are obliterating those polling stations. Rather, we are appealing that they add to the number of polling stations that we have. So that really is the situation. And we thought it's important to set the record straight, because you can't be in a room when we have all listened, and within 5 minutes you leave and you go and engage in distortions. I think that is most unfortunate. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for your rapt attention, and if there are any questions, we would respond to same.
Thank you, Majority Leader. We'll pick the questions now. Leader will pick 4 at a go.
I'm not too sure that I have more.
Okay, all right. So we'll take 2 here, 2 here. I saw your hand. Come again. He will do that after. Okay, after the questions.
My name is Kweku. My name is Kweku Sechidan, so I report for GhanaMPs.com. in the face of distortion of facts and the request being made by the minority, should you have the committee of the whole meeting, would you allow the media to be in so that you will not have distorted fact? Thank you.
What perhaps going forward we may do would be to avail the recording to you and make your own judgment. Because I asked the question whether it serves any purpose when they have concluded that we have made up our minds. Don't convince us with any facts. We are saying that whether or not it is good, it's persuasive, it's convincing, our position is that we don't like it. So what purpose would it serve if they come before the committee of the whole? What purpose? One can be too much for saying.
Leader Ibrahim Al-Hassan, G1 TV, Star FM. Leader, the issue of the CI and proxy voting, as well as ROPA, did it come up yesterday at your engagement? Because there's a Supreme Court judgment to that effect, as whether Ghanaians living outside will be afforded the opportunity to register at the impending exercise.
The Constitution is clear. In the performance of the functions of the Electoral Commission, no person, no authority can subject them to any directions. I would suggest, not even the Supreme Court, not even Parliament, not the President. No person, no authority can direct them in the performance of their functions. So the Supreme Court only directed attention to the law and said to them that because Parliament has passed that law, it should take steps to implement it. That's the import of the Supreme Court's decision. The rest of them will be left to the Electoral Commission. You can't just go to London, for instance, and call Ghanaians that, where are you Ghanaians, come and vote. You have to subject them to the same processes and procedures as we subject citizens in Ghana too. So it will mean that they have to be identified first, to be registered. All those processes will have to be followed. So let's leave that one to the Electoral Commission. The other one, you said CI something?
Yes, as to whether the CI that is matured already makes provision for people, Ghanaians living outside, to register.
The law,
Yeah,
the law that we passed, Representation of People's Amendment Act, is what contains that legislation. It's not the CI. The CI is not superior to the Act of Parliament. And the CI cannot change the Act of Parliament.
Yeah, Leader.
Thank you, Leader. My name is Felix Nyaba. I work with the Republic newspaper. I want to find out from you, during your deliberation...
Felix who?
Felix Nyaba, N-Y-A-A-B-A.
Is that work with?
The Republic.
Republic. Republic of Ghana?
Yes. Yeah, Leader, during your deliberation with the EC boss, has it come up that this year there will be no voters transfer, as we've been hearing from the public? And then, secondly...
Hold your tail.
And secondly, whether...
Hold your tail. Let me respond. For voter transfer, is guided by rules. The instrument provides that, it has to do with residences. You might have registered and changed your residence. It is a reason why the law regulating it indicates that you can't change your residence within 12 months in the lead up to the elections. Right? Now, when we are going to register, that is beginning 30th of June to December 7th when we'll be voting, it's less than 6 months. So the law will not even allow you to transfer. However, there are certain constituents who necessarily may have to be allowed to transfer. And that has to do with students, right? Your students, they may register at a location, and during the voting, they may be somewhere, not by any fault of theirs. So that law will have to be, fashioned out. So they may have to have another review of that CI. That is CI 94, which then would allow maybe for the students to be able to do voter transfer, but not ordinary citizens, because for the ordinary citizens, you are barred if you have not spent at least 12 months at a location.